September 16, 1992. A single man placed a bet so massive it pushed an entire country's economy to the edge of collapse. By the end of that day, Britain had lost billions, its government was humiliated, and one investor became richer by over $1 billion in profit. His name? George Soros, and the event became known as Black Wednesday. Now, how is that even possible? How can one man force the government of the United Kingdom to its knees? That's what we're going to uncover today. But to understand how it happened, we have to go back, not just to the early 90s, but decades earlier, to a childhood shaped by war, to a philosophy that made Soros see the world differently, and to the cracks in Britain's economy that set up the perfect storm. Stay with me, because the ending of this story will change the way you think about money, markets, and the power of individuals against governments. George Soros wasn't born rich. He was born in Budapest in 1930 into a Jewish family. His childhood wasn't about toys or schoolyard games. It was about survival. During World War II, Hungary fell under Nazi occupation. For Jewish families like Soros's, that meant constant fear of deportation or worse. His father was resourceful. He secured false identity papers for the family, hiding them under assumed names. For young George, survival meant deception, quick thinking, and always being a step ahead of danger. Imagine being 13 years old, knowing that a single mistake, a slip of the tongue, a misplaced document, could mean death for your family. That shapes a person. After the war, Soros wanted out. He left Hungary and made his way to London. He studied at the London School of Economics, where he fell under the influence of philosopher Karl Popper. Popper taught the idea of reflexivity, that markets aren't just numbers, they're driven by human perception. If enough people believe something, it becomes reality, at least temporarily. This concept stuck with Soros. He realized markets are fragile, built on psychology and confidence. And if you can spot when confidence is misplaced, you can profit massively when reality catches up. Soros entered finance, moved to New York, and eventually built his own hedge fund, the Quantum Fund. By the 1980s, Soros wasn't just another trader. He had a reputation for bold, contrarian bets. He wasn't afraid to stake billions on an idea that others dismissed. And in 1992, his biggest bet yet would make history. In the early 1990s, Britain's economy was weak. Inflation was high. Unemployment was rising. Growth was sluggish. Ordinary families were struggling with sky-high mortgage payments as interest rates climbed. At the same time, European countries were trying to stabilize their currencies with something called the exchange rate mechanism, or ERM. The ERM was like a financial straitjacket. Each participating country had to keep its currency locked to the German Deutsche Mark, Europe's strongest currency. Germany had low inflation, disciplined monetary policy, and credibility. Britain didn't. But in 1990, Prime Minister John Major pushed the UK into the ERM anyway. The pound's value was set high. Too high, many argued. The government insisted it could defend that level, but doing so meant punishing interest rates and constant interventions. Picture it like this. The government was trying to keep a hot air balloon tied down with ropes in a windstorm. Every gust of economic pressure strained those ropes. And George Soros saw what many politicians refused to admit. Those ropes were going to snap. Here's where Soros steps into the spotlight. He studied Britain's position and came to a bold conclusion. The pound was doomed inside the ERM. The government couldn't hold it up forever, so he prepared a massive bet. Here's how he did it. Soros borrowed pounds from banks. He immediately sold those pounds for Deutsche Marks and dollars. If the pound's value dropped, he could buy it back cheaper, return it to the lenders, and pocket the difference. It's like borrowing your friend's car when it's worth $20,000, selling it right away, then buying it back later for $10,000 and returning it. You keep the $10,000 profit. Simple in theory, risky in practice. Because if the pound went up instead of down, Soros would face staggering losses. But he was confident. And when word spread that Soros was shorting the pound, other hedge funds joined in. Suddenly, it wasn't just one man. It was an army of speculators, all piling onto the same side of the trade. The stage was set for a showdown, Soros and the markets versus the Bank of England. September 16, 1992. The Bank of England launched its defense. They spent billions from their reserves to buy pounds. They raised interest rates from 10% to 12%, then threatened 15%, levels that would crush homeowners and businesses, but were meant to lure investors back into the pound. But none of it worked. Soros and his fellow speculators kept selling. For every pound the government bought, billions more flooded the market. It was like trying to plug holes in a sinking ship while someone drilled new ones faster than you could fix them. By the afternoon, it was clear. The Bank of England was losing. That evening, the government capitulated. They announced Britain was leaving the ERM. The pound was allowed to float freely and immediately collapsed in value. And Soros? His bet paid off spectacularly. He made over $1 billion in profit in a single day. The newspapers gave him a new name, the man who broke the Bank of England. The aftermath was brutal. Britain had burned through billions in reserves, taxpayer money, trying to defend the pound. The Conservative government's credibility was shattered. The phrase Black Wednesday became a symbol of economic mismanagement. Ordinary people were furious. Many saw Soros and other speculators as vultures who had profited off national suffering. But here's the twist. In the long run, leaving the ERM actually helped Britain. Freed from the artificial exchange rate, the pound found its natural level. Interest rates fell. Exports became cheaper. Within a few years, Britain's economy was growing again. Some economists even argue that Soros's gamble, though devastating in the short term, actually forced Britain onto a healthier path. Still, the political scars ran deep. The Conservatives would never shake the stain of Black Wednesday, and the UK never joined the Euro, partly because of that painful memory. And what about George Soros? His legend only grew. To some, he was the ultimate financial genius, someone who saw the inevitable and had the courage to bet billions on it. To others, he was a ruthless opportunist, proof of how dangerous hedge funds and speculators could be to national economies. Soros himself claimed he wasn't destroying the pound. He was simply recognizing economic reality faster than governments did. But the image stuck. One man, one fund, $1 billion bet that toppled the mighty Bank of England. So let's return to the mystery we started with. How can a single man break a country's economy? The answer lies in confidence. Currencies survive on trust. When that trust crumbles, no government, no matter how powerful, can hold back the tide. Soros saw it before anyone else. He acted boldly, and the world still remembers the shockwaves of that day. Now, I want to hear from you. Was Soros a visionary who exposed the truth, or a predator who profited from national pain? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most dramatic financial showdowns, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.